Greetings, brothers and sisters. We are grateful tonight that you've assembled yourselves with us for this special broadcast of When Ebenezer Talks. I am grateful tonight to have with us Sister C. Reneta Major, the Honorable C. Reneta Major, Board of Supervisors member for District 9 in Accomack County, Virginia. Reneta, thank you so much for
No
being
problem.
with us.
It's an honor, and
Thank
I am
you
just
so much.
grateful that I was thought of.
Thank you.
So I am grateful and honored to be here with you.
Thank you. Our families go way back. Her mother, the late Julia Major, introduced my father to my mother. And so I kind of feel like her mother's the reason why I'm here. Amen. We see her on the monitors, and we are grateful for her. Reneta, you are currently serving as Board Supervisor. We're going to talk about that briefly
Sure.
In a few moments. But tell me a little bit about yourself. You went to college.
I was born and reared here, right here in Accomack County in the Boston area.
Okay.
Been here all my life. I went to elementary all on up to high school.
Okay.
And I matriculated at the Virginia Commonwealth University.
Okay.
And I graduated from there in '87, and much to the chagrin of some people who don't want to come back to the shore,
Yeah.
I love the shore.
I do too.
Maybe it's a comfort spot for me. I love it. And so I chose to come back.
I think we're cut from a different breed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So what did you major in?
I majored in psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after 2 or 3 change of majors, I settled on psychology.
Okay.
And came out in '87.
And you're currently working.
I'm currently working at the Northampton County Department of Social Services.
Okay. What do you do there?
I work with child care services, and I also do the Virginia Initiative Education and Work Program, which
Okay.
is, I get referrals from the TANF side of the house, which TANF just old welfare checks. Most people can identify with that. I get my referrals for them, and I try to encourage them to work and to make a livable wage and instill job skills and those type of things. But during the season of COVID, some of the policies have been tweaked a little bit, but I enjoy what I do.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
I have been there since 1991, 30 years plus.
Wow, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Your mother
Yes.
was a trailblazer. We want to put her picture back up again, yeah. Your mother was a trailblazer in Accomack County. I remember as a little boy, her running, campaigning to be on the Board of Supervisors and winning.
Yes.
And at her passing, you succeeded her. Tell me, how did that feel for you to succeed your mother, who had made such an impact? We don't even have time. We need a whole other episode to talk about Julia Major.
Really? I think I was set up.
Okay.
Well, I mean by that, I think the Lord set me up.
Okay.
Anybody who knew my mother knows she never drove anywhere.
Okay, that's right.
And got everywhere.
You were her chauffeur.
I was her chauffeur. And so that meant I was to all the meetings with her.
Okay.
Carried her, because when you become a Board of Supervisors member, it affords you the opportunities to join or belong to other boards.
Okay.
And so you kind of live a busy schedule. Anyhow, by me going with her, I used to call her Julia Major. Because I was like, oh, Mom, you know it's a meeting. And no meeting was a bad meeting with her. So I was like, wow. And now, when she passed, I had no idea that the board was even considering me. Because what happens is, if someone dies in office, that the boards, until they can have a special election, appoints that person.
Okay.
So you go through like a little application process or what have you. So I was approached. I said, do what? I was approached. In fact, Greg Duncan approached me.
Okay.
And I had not even buried my mother. Okay. So that was about the least thing on my mind about being on the Board of Supervisors. So I said, me? I said, well, let me give it some thought, And so he said, well, you mull it over it. And so after I gave it, I said, well, who else would it be to succeed my mother than me? So I prayed about it and had that special election, and I was appointed first, and I had the special election, and served her unexpired term.
How long have you been on the board?
If I count, 2005 until now, I had been I lost in 2011, I believe it was, 2011, to Philip McCallum. But he did not fulfill his term, so I did 2 years of his term. So altogether, I think it was been about 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What has been, well, let me ask you this
Sure.
first. What really, because some of our audience that's watching virtually may not even know. They've been voting for Board of Supervisors for years, and they may not be aware. What do you all do? What role do you play in the county?
What we play is, we are the governing body.
Okay.
So we make all the decisions for the county.
Okay.
Fiscally, in fact, we're to be in budget season right now. Well,
Okay.
we're in budget season.
Okay.
So we have different departments come under. The Board of Supervisors employs 2 people.
Okay.
It employs the county administrator and our county attorney.
Okay.
Okay. But all the budgets, anything that deals with anything with the county comes before the Board of Supervisors, who do all the policy making and laws and what have you. So I have a number of folk call about drainage issues. They run the gamut. Yeah. So that's what basically we run the county.
And they call you probably like the pastor. At different times of the day and night.
Right.
And now with texting and emailing,
Yes.
you are very accessible multiple ways.
Exactly. And nowhere is off limits. So I can go in the grocery store and Board of Supervisors sometimes is the last thing, because I'm trying to remember, now what do I need to pick up?
Yeah.
And somebody will strike a conversation. Ms. Major, how do you feel about thus and so? I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. So, yeah, I get those kind of encounters.
Yeah. Your mother served, as we've said.
Yes.
having been around her all your life, what do you think she would say now about the current climate of our culture?
I think she would have much to say. Right now we're living, or it seems like in some ways we have progressed. Some things I think we have regressed a little in. I think she would be concerned about our communities. Especially, she formed, or with, I could think of the other persons, especially in the Boston community, formed what they call a citizen, what was it, Pungatig's interest group, for lack of, can't even think of the correct term it was. But anyway, they would come together and brainstorm. Because this is how they even put her name up to become a supervisor. They would come, the persons like Yvonne Boggs and Billy Gittins and Bessie Mack.
You're going way back.
I'm going back now. And so those persons would come together and they would discuss current events and what's going on as far as our race, as far as African Americans, what's going on in the county, and they would just get together. I don't see that anymore. You know, it's like everybody's their own silos. You know, it's no unity. So I think she'll be concerned about us as a race, about us making sure that, you know, we are very much a part of the political process, knowing what the issues are. So I think she would, and more diversity, you know, in a whole bunch of things. She believed in diversity. You know, she would think we should be a part, we're all a part of Accomack County. So in all the boards, all commissions and what have you, need to have representation from all walks of life. And that goes from race, socioeconomic status, and what have you. And so I think she would have much to say. I often wonder in the season of COVID how she would feel about masking, and she'd probably be scared to half to death knowing her. But anyway, I just wonder, and you know, she never got to see the first African American president, and you know, some of the things that she fought hard for, and I can remember as a little girl, I'm now really going back. I'm really telling my age. I can remember times when I was just a little girl that my mother had to pay what they call a poll tax in order to vote. And you know, so there were a lot of, you talk about voter suppression that's going on now, when they tried to have, it was voter suppression.
New, it's just
it's
changed.
something new, it's just changed.
Changed character.
Exactly, it's just some changed character.
In talking about your board of supervisors, what is the greatest challenge facing the board now? We know the budget. We don't have to get into the budget.
You have to get into that.
But what is the greatest challenge trying to meet the needs of all of the citizens? What do you think is the greatest challenge?
I would say the greatest challenge, and some of my board members may differ, but to me, the greatest challenge right now is housing. Housing is a major issue. Not only in, I work in Northampton County, but I just see it shore-wide. You'd be surprised, we talk about the homeless population, we had a homeless point in time count a few days ago, and I'm anxious to see what the count is. You'd be surprised. Because most people think of homelessness, of course, you know, some people have slept in their cars. You know, most of the time we go in the urban, you know, in the cities, you see people on the street, you know, and that type of thing, going to homeless shelters, and I know we have those type of things around here. But you'd be surprised of how many people the agencies are paying for people to live in hotels. Homelessness is really on the rise, in my opinion. So housing is definitely, you know, a thing. I know, and I give kudos for those ANPDC and those housing, and Ava, what she's doing here in Northampton County. I give kudos to those folks. But housing is really an issue. You know, I know things have been done with Section 8 housing and those type of things. But what it's done is, if you qualify for Section 8, of course they're going to help you pay your rent or whatever. And sometimes they're from $700, $800 to $1,000. your average person who can't get on Section 8 can't afford that. And so it's like it's like I don't want to call, I guess the working class folk are really being under the gun. Because, you know, yes, housing is helping some folk, but it's not taking, you know, into consideration of all. That's my opinion. Housing, I think right now one of the things that's going to be facing us is safety, the EMS situation. Most of the time when you think of the volunteer fire companies, they're usually of one persuasion. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And so not too many African Americans volunteer to, I don't know if they feel, you know, people like to, I mean, that's the human nature of us. You kind of gravitate to something that you're familiar with.
That's true.
If you don't see your own kind there, you're not going to gravitate to, so, but even if when I go to, and we haven't had them since COVID, but I used to go to and still do Painter, volunteer fire company, and they always invited me to their dinners and that type of thing. And I see the same people, but they're getting older, and I don't see a whole bunch of folk volunteering. So, you know, that's an issue I think the county's going to have to face. That's one of the things we're looking to in our budget season this year, but even in the years to come, as far as safety. So I think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah. And you said about both counties, because you're working on them, but both county boards of supervisors work together from time to time.
Well, we're on
various issues.
well, on some issues because we are, some boards are regional, like Eastern Shore Area on Aging is a regional board. We have the Eastern Shore Regional Jail Board. The Accomack North Hampton Planning District Commission is a regional board. And I just think, you know, some people shun this regionalism, but I kind of embrace it because when you go off the shore, do you say, I'm from Accomack County? Most of the time we say what?
From the Eastern Shore.
We're from the Eastern Shore.
Very true.
So I think it needs to be, and I understand with Accomack County is a larger county, and sometimes even when we do joint ventures, Accomack County has to pay more because we're a larger county.
Yeah.
But even with that, I think sometimes on certain issues that we need to have more camaraderie.
Now, besides the board, I want you all to know that Sister Major, Supervisor Major, is also a distinguished member of the Shiloh Baptist Church, Boston, under the leadership of Dr. Jesse Thomas, and she is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Would you tell us some of the duties and some of the activities that you are a part of with those two?
I'll start with my church.
Okay.
I love where I worship, and I think that's going to be our motto. I mean, I love where I worship, and I earnestly do. Been there as a child. I grew up in church. Church is all I know. I didn't have the luxury of saying, I don't want to go to church. No. Because if I didn't go to church on Sundays, on Wednesdays or Friday nights, then I want to go to a school function, I wasn't able to do it.
Exactly.
That's how it was in my household.
That's the generation we were raised in.
Oh, yes. So, getting to that, Shiloh Baptist Church, I love it. At Shiloh, I serve as a deaconess, so it's a servitude where we do different things as far as, of course, old school, you know, you take care of the communion table and all that thing, but also we're assigned where we call our sick and shut in. So a lot of times we reach out in that capacity. So I'm a deaconess there. I also work with our youth, not as much as I was when I was younger. I used to be the head of the youth department there, but no longer. We have other folk who have come in, but it still doesn't bother me because I still am a part of that. I'm also a part of our Pastor's Appreciation Committee, where that's to help our pastor, undergird him, to encourage him, whether it be financially, or whether it just be a word of encouragement. You know, sometimes pastors need encouragement, people.
Very true.
They get down like everybody. They're human. So sometimes out of the blue, I may send my pastor, you know, I think you're doing a great job. I enjoyed your sermon. I can see that you're studying. Those little tidbits sometimes to me I think helps him or her?
I think they help. I hope every member is listening. They would help every pastor.
Yes.
It's good that every pastor wants to hear
Sure.
the positive things that they are doing as it benefiting their members
Exactly.
or their congregants. And so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you are a member
I'm a
of the
proud member of the
Delta
Delta
Sigma
Sigma
Theta,
Theta Sorority
yes.
Incorporated. I enjoy being there. In that capacity, I'm a service parliamentarian.
Okay. I can see that.
And old school Eastern Shore Virginia Maryland Baptist Association
That's true.
would have given you all you needed to be.
That's true.
As far as the parliamentarian
That's
goes.
true. Your
Because
mother-
I can remember
Yes.
as a kid growing up in the likes of R.W. Wilson and Charles F. Mapp.
Yeah.
And, they were the kings when it came to Robert Rules of Order.
That's right.
So I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed some of the things have been different, and Robert Rules has changed. But I served in that capacity. I also served we're kind of in COVID, so we're kind of helping each other. So we help with social action and those type of things, and doing outreach as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I want to talk about race
Okay.
some.
Okay.
'Cause this is Black History Month.
Sure.
How do you feel? You've lived here on the Eastern Shore, just as I have, all your life, with the exception of going away to college. How do you feel things have changed for us as a race? And what do you think needs further attention?
What I see as growing up here, I can remember small businesses. Every community had a store.
Yes, indeed.
I can remember
That we would walk to
that you could walk to.
as kids.
Mr. Levi's,
Yeah.
Mr. Herman Gittens, my own father, Herman Edmonds, to
Red James over
Red
in
James, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Miss Norma Satchel, Miss Catherine. The list goes on. But there were black businesses in every community.
That's true.
Where are they now? Don't
true.
see them anymore. We kind of took care of our own. Certain things in the African American, we started with, of course, family has always been important. I don't see that anymore. I see more of it coming together since COVID. And I'm sorry it had to take something of a pandemic for families to gravitate to each other again. I can remember growing up, we had family reunions, and there was always homecomings at church. It was like a family reunion. So, I just think as a race of people that first of all, we need to come together as family, because that's our structure. God created family for anything else.
That's right.
He wanted family. So I just think that has been broken a little bit. And I just think family, structure, and I think people just need to, almost lost my train of thought, I'm going somewhere. Family, as I was saying, repeat that question again so I can get my train of thought.
How do you feel things have changed
Okay.
for us as a race, and what do you think needs some more attention?
Okay. I think if we, like I said, it's that structure of the family has been broken. I just think we also need to be get in tune politically. I just think sometimes we need to know what the issues are. When I look out at my Board of Supervisors member, sometimes I don't see us. They're sporadic sometimes. But I think people need to get more involved with local government. And I know we're with the state government and with federal, especially during presidential seasons. That's fine and dandy. But you need to know what's happening in your own community. So I just think we need to be more politically astute when it comes to what's going on. And so I think if we get back to the basics, even with, there are some African-American businesses that are striving now, but do we patronize them? Sometimes yes, sometimes we can. Seems like we're always critical of our own.
Of our own.
That, and that's goes, and my mother always said that her biggest critics were black women. And I find that to be true. You know, I don't know why we're so critical on us, but we are. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But, and so I just think some of those things we just need to get back to family and being more politically astute, like I said, and just finding out what's going on in our community.
Yeah. Who are some of your heroes when you think about it? And I say this question to you for Black History, but not just national, but locally. Who are some of the people that you've admired down through the years?
Of course, my mother.
Of course.
I admired, locally, I admired Marie Humbles. When my mom passed away, Aunt Ree had a way of challenging you.
My Lord, yes. I second that emotion.
Challenging you in a way that made you think about you. And I can remember I was really distraught when I lost the election to Phil McCallum. But I am so glad as I look back that that happened to me. Because I would never be a Julia Major. She has sung her song, she's done her dance. I would never be Julia Major. But it gave me a chance to look introspectively at myself, at what attributes do Reneta have? Reneta, what's your character? What can you bring to Accomack County Board of Supervisors? And it gave me, during those 2 years, a chance to find out who I was. You know, you can't love anybody. That goes with any relationship or anything. You got to find out who you are to help somebody else. If you never get a chance to ask the Lord to endow you or to really get to know who you are, it's hard to have any type of relationship with other folk. That's my belief. So I said all to say that, but I just truly believe and Marie Humbles is one of the persons, like I said, that helped me do that do that. And I guess I'll be remiss to say that, I'll have to give kudos to my aunt and uncle that I reside with. For the last, I don't know how long I've been living with them now, but I know at least been 9, 10 years at least, but even with living with them, I have seen, they may not have formal education, either of them, but what I admire most about them, I'm like, what can't they do? I see I was like, if I could find a man like my uncle, but the partnership that they have, I admire, because it's like they work together, and my uncle is self-made. He ran a ice company with no formal education.
Very true.
He had no formal education. He ran an ice company. He's a mechanic. I could what can't you do? He could be a plumber. I've seen he going out, and I'm like, what can't you do? My aunt, on the other hand, same thing. As far as, I'm like, if she had the opportunity that some of these young people have now, as far as catering, and she was, I'm like, Uncle Aunt Maggie, you should have been a caterer.
Exactly.
You should, she could cook. One of the best cooks around. And I hear her family, and I hear other people call her now and ask, about different recipes.
Yeah.
And so there are some of the people I do admire. I would be remiss if I didn't say and everybody, some of the folk on the board, I take a little bit of each, because I look at Robert Crockett, and I look at Donald Hart, and some about the way they view things or how they. I listen because I want to take the best of Donald Hart, take the best of Robert Crockett, and instill in myself as to what can, with, not that I agree with everything Donald says or do I agree with everything that Robert says, but I listen to their reasoning about things and how they look at statistics about certain things. You can have your feelings and all of that come into play, sure, But there are some other folk that I look at, I admire. I admire Sammy Cooper. I looked at Sammy as someone who came along at the same time my mom did, and a young man to be thrust in a very important job, and how he has flourished with not only having his own company, and also with being the first African American as far as the clerk of court. Yeah. So and I think you said that's locally, okay.
Yeah, and I think I say locally because a lot of times we fail to look around us.
That's true. That's true. True.
Nat Turner, Martin King,
Right.
Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Marcus Garvey, the list goes on. Great people, done a phenomenal sacrifices for our race.
Exactly.
But we have so many people we see every day.
That's right.
Every week that has set an example.
Exactly.
That has shown us, if I can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes people need to be reminded that right in your own neighborhood, right in your own locale, right in your own church.
Exactly. Exactly.
There are persons in every one of our churches that is Black history.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is Black history.
And if I could I can roll back the curtain. I tell young people this. I said, I can't remember a time when I was in college that people at Charlotte Baptist Church, the elderly, folk at the time, like James and Mary Bunting, Miss Selma Upshaw, my daughter, as I call Dorothy Satchel, and the list, I don't even want to start calling names. But those people who didn't have much themselves, but every time I would come home, here, baby, even if it was just $5, that $5 meant like they would give me $5,000. Exactly. Because you know what it said to me? I believe in you, and I want you to succeed.
And you're doing something I could not
Exactly.
do. And so I'm going to push you with the best that I have.
Exactly. Yeah.
As we come to the end of this conversation tonight, as a Board of Supervisors member, African American, where would you like to see, and I'm not going to just say Accomack County, I'm going to say the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
Don't tell Donald Hart I said that. Where would you like to see the Eastern Shore, say 5, 10 years from now?
I would like to see the Eastern Shore have better housing, that we would have some type of system when it comes to safety measures. I know everybody's struggling, rural areas are struggling with our volunteerism as far as fire companies and EMS goes. We're not like in urban cities where you get paid. We do have some paid staff, don't get me wrong. But, a lot of it is volunteers are running those companies. So I would like to see more diversity in different things, in different areas in the county. I would like to see more, and we're trying to get better at that, but more recreational things for our youth. And on the flip side, I know we have, and do have more, I know Eastern Shore area agents doing certain things with our older populations, because believe it or not, Eastern Shore is becoming, we have a lot of older folk here on the shore, so they're going
Locally
to,
that have lived here, and a lot of them that are relocating.
and relocating
after
here. We're coming a retirement type of community. And so we're going to have to kind of bridge the gap of looking at attracting. I'm not saying that we can blow up like Virginia Beach, but we need some businesses here that would employ the masses. You know, of course, we have the chicken factories, and thank the Lord for them, because without them, I would move. No, I'm just teasing. But, you know, really, I would be very concerned if Purdue or Tyson's would leave the Eastern Shore.
I think that is a sediment that
Yes.
a lot of people do not understand.
Yes.
The
Purdue
amount
and
of-
Tyson's
Yeah.
right now are making, the salaries and the bonuses that they're giving out right now can top people who are white-collar workers, who have a formal education, is what I'm trying to convey. So, yes. But we need some businesses. I know we have Wallops to our north, and there's certain things, you know, we have Rocket Labs, and so hopefully there'll be something, hopefully in the near future, that with that arena. But I just think, you know, there needs to just be more of, like I said, recreation housing. Good Lord. I can't stress housing enough, because I am very concerned about all this homelessness that I see, you know, and I guess I'm afforded that because I work at social services in Northampton County, and I'm on the board of social services when they come in Accomack County. So I see, you know, and I work in other entities where other folk are helping pay hotel bills and those type of things. So, yeah, that's a real concern.
And we've
to
done
me.
it here at Ebenezer. We've had cases where we've had to help people from time to time in that area. Listen, before we leave, let the audience know when Accomack County Board of Supervisors meets.
Okay.
Because that may be something that some of them may not know, and that may be the reason why they have not been attending some of the meetings.
Okay. We meet the third Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. Third Wednesdays at 5. In fact, we're starting our budget season. In fact, we have a budget meeting tomorrow night. We're meeting right now at the Wetumpka Elementary School because we ask that you do mask. We are social distancing as well. We're trying to follow all the COVID guidelines as far as CDC is concerned. And plus, since we're meeting in a school, I know newly elected Governor Youngkin has lifted the mask mandate for the schools, but right now, Accomack County and Northampton County still have the mask mandate. So we ask that you do come and that you mask, and we will make sure that you're social distanced.
Very good. Reneta, thank you so much.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
For coming and being a part of our Ebenezer Talks broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much tonight. We look forward to coming back again on February the 23rd with our guest, the Honorable Samuel H. Cooper, Jr., Clerk of Court of Accomack County and the owner of Cooper Numbers Funeral Company, Incorporated. Listen, have a wonderful evening. God bless you, and good night.
Good night.